welcome to TX Plays. Just a quick reminder before we get going about the Beat the Viper challenge. Can you tune the Renault Magane to 744 PI and beat the Dodge Viper around Kota? Check out Beat the Viper challenge video for more details. So today we're going to take the Magane around Long Beach, test out the drivetrains on it. See what effect these have on the car. I think massively. So we're going to start off with the rear-wheel drive car, the front-wheel drive car, the one we've been using last time. I chose this track because, well, it's got this nice long straight, but then it's got some tight corners where you've got to try and get the car to accelerate out pretty quickly. And so it took a little bit of practice, so I cut the first lap, obviously not going to be the quickest, to give you the second two. And unsurprisingly, like last time, the front wheel drive car understeers quite a lot. I was having to manage that, which meant going a little bit slower into the corners and taking my time getting on the throttle on the way out. The car felt pretty normal because that's what I was used to, but it's trying to slide in every corner. I'm just having to be very, very careful with the power, which takes a bit of control. First time out I hit the barrier over there, and again, see, I just understeer into the wall. No damage done, just a little clonk on the wall, but it slows me down a lot. So coming into this final section can be interesting. There's a couple of corners, this bit here, you're trying to brake and turn, trying not to do that obviously, but it's a long turn and into a really, really sharp corner. So really important to get the drive out of this one. And the start finish line is actually a long way down. I thought it was the Toyota bridge, but then realised it's all the way down here. There you go. So onto the third lap, that was a 1:36.6. So not a bad lap, but not great. Just braking here, trying to get this big braking zone. So many times I slid into that tyre barrier. Just trying to get around this grass roundabout, trying to get a wheel up on the curb there slightly, just helps turn the car a little bit. And just through this twisty tight section, just trying to make sure I get my corners right, trying to not accelerate too hard. I don't want to be understeering, I don't want to be braking too hard. One of the things I did notice whilst making this video is brake pressure wise, I'm only using about 50-60% of my brake pressure. Anything more than that I'm locking up, so I think there's some tuning to be done in there just to allow a bit more brake control. This time get close to the wall but don't hit it, always a bonus. And drive down this back straight. Obviously hitting the wall costs you time because it slows you down, and you slow down all the way down here. Through this corner, can be difficult in a race, but not too difficult on your own. Get onto the curb there nicely, holding the line quite well. Through this final corner, just waiting to get on the power. I just can't get the power down because the understeer is just taking me towards that concrete barrier. And drive to the line. Set a reasonable 1:33.296. Not sure where I dirted my lap, but a reasonable time there. Again, massive understeer in this car, making it just, as I said, hard to get the power down. So yeah, we did reasonably well there. We'll tune the car up to rear wheel drive and take it back. So here we are, lap 2 in the rear wheel drive car. This drops the PI actually to 738 PI, where the front wheel drive is 740. So according to Forza's system, this car isn't as powerful, only by 2 PI. That doesn't make a massive difference to a car. The Viper was 1 PI lower, and it smashed this car around Kota and around, I can't remember what track I used with them. But yeah, rear wheel drive, the opposite problem to front wheel drive. This one is very oversteering. If I'm too quick on the power, the front end, I'm going to get nowhere near the wall, but end up down the left hand side of the straight, which is where I want to end up, but not where I want it to come out. So I have to be very careful. Again, a bit more oversteer at that corner. And I'll modify my driving a little bit just to cope with that, so making sure I brake, get my speed down, turn, and then accelerate away from the apex. I was trying to be a bit too aggressive at the start of this lap and the first lap. So getting around here into the hairpin, much neater around there. You see I didn't drift out towards the wall as early, so much neater out of there, down the start finish straight for a 1:32.5. A little bit quicker actually, so quicker already than the front wheel drive car for a lower PI. So third lap, I had 2 laps under my belt now, kind of got the hang of the car. See much less sliding there. Into here, up onto the little curb, come out nice and wide, but actually it kind of allows me to carry the speed through that corner, which is good. Into this big braking zone, well, not really big braking zone, that one's kind of lulls you. I feel like I could take that corner a lot quicker, but when I do I tend to end up by the tyre barriers, so I've got to be a bit careful. This is the one you saw me come very kind of keep tight, too tight last time. Tyre squeal, but much better, better out to the wall, much better line into this corner now. Through here, and I'm really just scrape the wall as I go through. Wasn't anywhere near the apex, I got that corner a little bit wrong, so losing some fractions of time, but actually a second up here. So doing well. Again, there's more time in that corner, but I wonder whether if I try and push it a bit harder, whether I lose it all in these two, in this section here. This twisty section. Through the hairpin. Just again, waiting to get the power down. Probably a bit too slow, probably could have left a bit of speed in it then, and because as soon as I put the power down I got a bit of oversteer. And cross the line at 1:32.096, so 1.2 seconds quicker than the front wheel drive in the rear wheel drive. So just shows the fact that I'm able to get onto the power a little bit earlier. I've got to brake a bit quicker sooner, but I'm able to get on the power mid corner where I wasn't in the front wheel drive. If I did it in the front wheel drive, I just couldn't keep that turn going. Maybe with a few tweaks to the aerodynamics, that might have made a difference. You know, I might have been able to get the front wheel drive through there a bit better if it had a bit more front grip. So, all wheel drive. Obviously a much heavier car now. I almost had a big accident on my first lap where I tried to take the section too quick. You'll notice through that bend back there, that little kink in the road. The car behaves itself. It doesn't really... It's kind of got a bit of a neutral steer. It kind of feels quite secure, and it was that little section there. I just tried to race between those two apexes and then realised I couldn't slow down for that corner. So ignore the fact I'm +5 up. I had a big mess on the first lap. As I said, I went into the barrier on the outside. So through this corner, the one I found I've got nowhere near the apex, but able to get my power down, get the speed going. Kind of feels a bit like the first lap with the rear wheel drive there. Clipping the curb, missing the tyre barrier, missing the wall, all importantly down there. So get a nice drive down this back straight. As I say, this car actually feels pretty nice to drive. I just completely mess up my braking there. Thought I could just about get around the tyres. I don't really know what happened. I thought I was on the brakes, but clearly wasn't on them enough. And that's going to put a lot of pressure on the next lap. So I go wide here, try and get the decent line out of that hairpin so I can get the power down quickly. Down this straight. Just listen to the car through this little right bend. It doesn't really chatter. There's not as much tyre noise as there is from the other two. Trying to get these corners right, get wide, get in, get the apex, get out again. This one just feels like I can line this corner up nicely. It doesn't. I'm not in concern about where I'm going to end up with my front or my rear end. Just get that. It just goes where I want it to. I can get the power down without understeering or oversteering. Just focus on driving this car. I'm not having to worry about fighting it anywhere. Again, missed the apex there horribly. It was actually better in the other two cars there. So through here, can I avoid the tyres on the wall this time? Yes, I can. Down to the right-hander, 90-degree right-hander I messed up a minute ago. We'll see. Nearly a second up on myself, but obviously didn't mess that corner up, so I'm going to gain all that time I lost there last lap out. Through there. Slow down, slow down, slow down. Get it on the power and drive to the line. Now, interestingly, making this car all-wheel drive jumps the PI up to 777. By the way, that was 3.5 seconds quicker, that front-wheel drive car. Yeah, it jumps up to 777 PI. So I had a quick look at what you could get from the car store for 777 PI. For 776 you can get a Porsche 911 GT1 Stratosphere version. You can get the BMW M1 Pro car, and for 777, and for 778 you can get a Lamborghini Diablo GTR. I took the Pro car out on the lap, so set it up to standard settings, so it was 777 PI, took it out on the lap, thinking the Viper smashed this car standard settings. The GTR Pro car only went round in a 128.209. That's actually only 0.36 of a second quicker than our all-wheel drive Megane. I thought that was quite an interesting little experiment, because I honestly thought a race car would smash it around here, but clearly not. So let's take these cars to Le Mans for a speed test. First up, front wheel drive. We saw this last time, so I'm going to cut the length short. Just getting the drive down. Where can we get to? I wasn't really sure what I was going to get from this test. I thought they should all be pretty much the same. They might get there at different times. So I thought I'd actually see who can get to the top speed quickest. Would be more of the test here, seeing who can get the power down out of corners, who's got the better traction, better grip. We're up to 185 now. We know we're getting close to our top speed, because we know from our last video that our top speed is right about coming up shortly. We just drop down the dip here and we hit 189 miles an hour. We get to hold it for a little while, and I'm just going to cut this short because we don't go any quicker. Into the front wheel drive car now, sorry, rear wheel drive now. That was the front wheel drive. So expecting this car to get to a similar speed, maybe get there a bit quicker, and it's accelerating fast. But look, we're doing 170 and we're already into the red zone, and actually 174 we're bouncing on the limiter. We just about touch 175 there, and that's all it gets. So that made me really intrigued. I don't know why there's such a power difference straight line speed. If someone could explain in the comments, it would be much appreciated. Which then led to a real intrigue when I put the all-wheel drive on. So I have no idea how this was going to do. Popping it down here, it's again 170 miles an hour and 176. It's bouncing on the limiter again. Can someone please explain why a front wheel drive car, and they've got the same engine, the same settings, but why was the front wheel drive so much quicker? So in conclusion, for me and my driving style going around road round Long Beach. For my driving style, the all-wheel drive is much better, also pulls way cooler donuts, and is actually comparable to the cars around it in its PI class. Rear-wheel drive quicker than front-wheel drive. We know the wheels are working really hard there. That's going to be it. Thank you for watching.